going to be the Attorney General, Curtis Hill. Secondly, we'll have Sheriff Goshert, Prosecutor Daniel Hampton, and then the Bowen Center Director, Matthew Grant. We'll start right now. Okay, everyone, thank you once again, and we're going to begin this morning with Attorney General for the state of Indiana, Curtis Hill. Attorney General.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. I'm Curtis Hill, I'm the Attorney General for the state of Indiana. And I'm joined here today with the Sheriff of Kosciusko County, Rocky Goshert, the Prosecutor of Kosciusko County, my dear friend Daniel Hampton, and Bowen Center Director Matthew Grant. The best correctional models are those that not only penalize offenders for their crimes, but also help improve their character by addressing social, emotional, spiritual, educational, and family issues through targeted services. JCAP, or Jail Chemical Addiction Programs, is one model that puts this truth into practice. These microphones fall. The experience of Boone and Dearborn counties shows that JCAP works. We want to spread this model across the state. To this end, we are pleased to help facilitate a grant of $87,800 for the purpose of starting a JCAP program here in Kosciusko County. The simple fact is that jails house a large number of addicts. By some estimates, the proportion of the incarcerated population with substance abuse issues hovers around 80%. Now, targeting inmate populations, therefore, represents one of the best methods of reaching drug users in need of services the most. Too often the term prison reform or criminal justice reform has been used as a euphemism for going soft on crime. Well, that is decidedly not the case with JCAP. Without going soft on crime, we must insist that offenders be provided genuine and meaningful opportunities to turn their lives around and break the cycles that lead individuals repeatedly into criminal behavior. For criminal offenders with addiction problems, incarceration can be a godsend if it helps put them on the road to recovery. That's what JCAP is all about. The key is connecting inmates with quality, long-term treatment programs that begin during incarceration and continue upon their release. In effective JCAP programs, participants are separated from others in the jail population and expected to spend at least 90 days in cognitive behavioral therapy. Master's level social workers conduct group and individual counseling. A key to long-term success is to create solid plans for continued treatment once participants complete their jail sentences. Now, we're holding meetings in every region of Indiana, promoting this concept and encouraging other counties to make chemical addiction programs available in their local jails. Today marks the first time we are helping to provide funds for a new JCAP startup, and it's happening right here in Kosciusko County. Now, in Boone and Dearborn counties, more than one participant has said, "Getting arrested has saved my life." And that's a very important thing to consider. The very nature of addiction pushes aside rational behavior and decision making. Without effective intervention, drug-addicted criminal offenders, once released from jail, typically go right back to the routines and habits that got them in trouble in the first place. For example, in Dearborn County, approximately 43% of the general population inmates wind up being rearrested upon their release. By contrast, only 18% of inmates who completed the JCAP program are picked up for new offenses upon release. This is according to the Dearborn County data. Even from a financial standpoint, JCAP makes sense. The Dearborn County program costs $14 per day per patient. Similar therapy in the private sector would cost tens of thousands of dollars per person. While it is critically important to develop these programs, we also cannot forget that people still need to be held accountable for the law. bottom line is this: if we can change hearts, we can change lives. This is all the kind of thing that Hoosiers should be able to rally around. There are no downsides to the opportunity in Kosciusko County to participate in the JCAP program and change the hearts and lives of addicts. With that, I'd like to turn this over to Sheriff Gossett for a few comments, and he will then turn it over to Prosecutor Hampton. Thank you.
First of all, we want to thank the Attorney General for allowing us to start this program here in Kosciusko County. It's a great need. As our jail population was growing, we were looking at with our jail commanders and our administrative staff what we were going to do. We figured out that law enforcement could no longer arrest their way out of this problem because we're having so many repeat offenders with alcohol and drug abuse. So we decided that we needed to look at what programs were out there. JCAP came to ours. We went down to Dearborn County, looked at theirs, talked with their people, and then we came back here. We sat down and talked about it again. At that point, we got with the Attorney General's office, and they gave us the opportunity, came up and talked to us and explained what their restrictions were and those kind of things that we needed to do. So we put those things in place with people in the community that could offer those kind of help for us. So with the rising number of people we had and the repeat offenders that we kept re-arresting and re-incarcerating, that we decided that this was the program for us. This is the program that we needed to install and see where we can go with this. So then it was up to law enforcement. We got to look at, we know how to incarcerate people, but now we got to look at how to rehab people and make them profitable to society when they get out, not just going back and then us re-arresting them. So as we went through this whole thing, we're with this opportunity with JCAP and along with a partner with the Attorney General's office and also the Bowen Center and many other people in the private sector. We think that we have the opportunity to start this here in the next few weeks here in the jail, and we're looking forward to that. And I'll turn this over to Prosecutor Hampton.
Good morning. First, I want to thank our friends in Dearborn County and Boone County for their valuable practical experience, and especially the Indiana Attorney General's Office through Curtis Hill for their financial encouragement. For introducing us to a new way to address the devastation of drug and alcohol abuse and on the lives of individuals, children, families in our community. We know that we need to think outside of the box. We can't arrest our way out of this problem. Indiana University, in fact, through a collaboration research initiative published in 2015, found JCAP highly effective in addressing substance abuse and community safety. The very concept of the JCAP program is a complete paradigm shift from punitive to the therapeutic. Criminal justice and treatment can live together. On release with no appropriate or timely intervention, an individual in an active addiction will likely commit further crimes to gain illegal drugs. Court staff repeatedly see many of the same defendants time and again as they show up to hear fresh charges against them. If we could truly change the patterns of misbehavior that exist among a relatively small segment of the population, we would make the whole community safer. This is exactly the aim of JCAP, to alter the habits, specifically of those known to struggle with substance abuse. JCAP addresses drug addiction, alcohol addiction in our community by targeting those in jail. A restrictive intervention which allows those in active addiction an opportunity to receive treatment in a secure, drug-free environment. The program promotes accountability and responsibility. program is geared toward those individuals where there is both a clinical need identified by a therapist and a personal desire by the inmate to participate with no external incentives. In other words, after a while in jail, an addicted person begins thinking with a clearer mind to identify their need for help, and with the JCAP program can adopt life-changing skills for sobriety. JCAP focuses on moderate, high-risk offenders who are chemically dependent, no serious violent felons, no major drug dealers, and or sex offenders will be admitted into the program. And it creates a therapeutic community within the jail, a separate pod, if you will, which fosters a safe, drug-free environment to engage in treatment and focus on recovery while under pretrial detention. JCAP is entirely a voluntary program, 90 days minimum, with no promises of leniency, even if completing the program successfully. I'm sure that a successful completion of the program may be considered by the court at sentencing, but there is no guarantee. The applicant's primary goal should be recovery. Wraparound services exist within the criminal justice system that will continue to assist the participant after completing JCAP. For instance, the Kosciusko County Drug Court Program, community corrections monitoring, and or intensive probation. The added bonus to our county constituents is that JCAP is funded from grants with little to no use of county tax dollars. You know, opiate, methamphetamine, drug issue in our community. With these additional services offered through the Jail Chemical Addiction Program, we are hopeful that our community will begin to see a reduction to recidivism, a reduction in overdose deaths, a reduction in overdose calls, all while substantially enhancing our community safety. Thank you. With that, I'll hand it back over to Attorney General Hill for answering the questions.
My name is Matthew Graham. I'm the director of the Bowen Center here in Warsaw, Indiana, and we are excited to be a part of this process. Oftentimes, we don't get a chance to work with individuals until they are released from jail, and in those situations, sometimes individuals do not make it to our doorway. As a result of being able to be a part of this from day one as they are in jail, we can continue that service even as they exit, and they actually have a head start on the process. So we're very excited about this, and thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to join you in this effort. Thank you.
So we'll open it up for questions. I do want to make one comment. As I was standing here, I noticed that Mr. Graham and I had a distinct advantage over Mr. Hampton because his hair was blowing out.
Very good. Very good.
Any questions that you have? We covered a lot of information, so you might be good, but I'll tell you, I'm very excited for Kosciusko County. I'm very excited for the state. We all know that we have a severe problem with regard to addiction and drug abuse. Much of the concern is about opioids, but I'm here to tell you it's not just opioids, folks. It's methamphetamine, it's synthetic, it's widespread, and it's destroying our youth. And the concept of punishment, yeah, we still have to hold people accountable, but we have to get our arms around this issue. And the reality is that when drugs are in someone's mind, they're not able to function with reality, with rationality. And so one of the best opportunities that we have is that when we have a captive audience of people in our jails and in our prisons to take advantage of that captivity. Don't just warehouse and incarcerate and send them back out to do the same things. Let's find the ones who are willing, because this is a volunteer program. This isn't something that we just push on everybody who's there. They've got to step up to the plate. And there are a lot of people out there who have addictions who want to help, but they can't quite get to where they need to be. And that's what we're here to do. Help them get to where they need to be. Meet them halfway. They come in and volunteer, make that happen. Pardon me?
How common would it be for somebody to be here for 90 days instead of
That is kind of difficult. That is very difficult because with the way the criminal code works with some of the low-level offenses, it is sometimes difficult for someone at a low-level offense to be here that long. One of the problems, because it really is imperative that they have a sufficient amount of time for this to take. You just can't put somebody in a program for 2 weeks or a month. You have to be able to segregate them from the general population, and you have to get them along with other like-minded people for a significant period of time. So therefore, it's not always conducive to what we want to do, because if someone is here for a 6-month sentence and they're not going to be here that long, it may not work out. That's one of the problems that we see also at the DOC level, because some of the offenses are so low that a person is given amount of time, not sufficient amount of time to get treatment.
Why would you encourage people to run? Why would you encourage people to try this program?
We would encourage anyone who's incarcerated, who's looking for a way out, to try the program, because they're in need of that start, to get it started, and they're in need of the continuation. The biggest problem that we see with anyone who's looking to get treatment, they're okay for that limited period of time where the resources are hitting. But when they get away from that and they go back to their normal lifestyle, normal neighborhood, normal influences, things start to fall apart again. So the most important aspect, I shouldn't say the most important, a very important aspect of this is after they've been released and the ongoing care to get new habits forming in who they associate with, how they operate, how they think, and how they feel about themselves.
How quickly can we expect to see this program in other counties?
Beg your pardon?
How quickly can we expect to see the program in other counties?
Well, we're hoping as quickly as possible. We're going all over the state having presentations left and right to present the information. We're also having representatives from Dearborn County, including inmates, judges, and other personnel, travel with us to put these presentations on. We're hopeful that when Kosciusko County is up and running, we will come to Kosciusko County and say, could you get a few of your inmates and your program and move over to another county? That's how we sell the program. We don't just go there and talk about it. We take the inmates into the counties and say, tell your story. And these folks begin to tell their stories of their long trail of addiction and how they're working through the process now. They're in their orange outfits as they speak, still incarcerated, but still talking about how this is saving their lives. So we're hopeful that we can move this forward as quickly as possible.
Why Kate County? You know, there's a lot of addiction in many of the other counties in the state. Why this one?
Well, we'd like to have it in every county. But why K County is because Kosciusko County stepped up. This is an option that any county has. So in our travels, in our discussions, the folks in Kosciusko County stepped up and said, we want this. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're not forcing this on anyone. We're presenting the information and we're saying, here's an opportunity. So it's up to the counties to step up. And I'm very proud that my neighbor, Kosciusko County, stepped up and we're ready to go to action.
How many inmates are in these programs in Dearborn and Boone? Like, how big are these? How many inmates are in them?
I can't answer that specifically. I'd like to have bigger numbers, but they've been sufficient enough to show a serious reduction in the amount of recidivism for those not participating in the program. Boone County was initiated at first, and they were the model for Dearborn, and Dearborn's done an outstanding job moving forward.
Long term, could this save taxpayer dollars? And is there any projection of what that dollar figure?
Absolutely, it can save money. I mean, keep in mind, this is all about keeping people from reoffending and going back into the incarceration. Right now, we have a revolving door. People go into jail, they come out, they commit a crime, they go back into jail, get out, commit a crime. So that's all money being eaten up by the same people. It's a known fact that a very small percentage of people in any community commit the vast majority of your crime. Very small percentage, vast majority of crime. So if we effectively deal with those frequent flyers, those people who do the same things over and over and over again, we're going to have a financial impact, we're going to have an emotional impact, we're going to have a community impact to improve the lives of everyone. I think it's pretty simple. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your coming out and follow the program. Keep up with those who are administering it. I'd love to see you have reports on it, because the more success we can show in the Kosciusko County program, the more we can get this program out throughout the state of Indiana, the better for everyone. Thank you very much for coming.